Okay, we're gonna take number 4 first. Let's wait for the prosecutor to come in. Okay, Christina, okay, what we've come down to is that we're going to be closing you for 30 days, but you have to work out with the city attorney which days, and they have to all be used up by the end of the year. Correct? Okay. Understand?
So you pick the 30 days.
Okay.
And you have to
so-
speak,
They don't have to be 30 days in a row either.
Okay,
but
and it's not like
days.
days, like I
It's a
have to.
business day.
It's a business
Right.
day,
Okay.
so if it's like 6 AM to
2
2:30 in the
a.m.
morning or whatever.
That's one day.
Okay, so like Mondays, I can close Mondays, or something like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Whatever. If you can get 30 in a time.
And the list will go to the police department.
Yeah,
Okay.
they will be checking it, yes.
And also not to be confused, this is not wiping the slate clean.
Oh, no, I know, yeah.
You know, it's not like, oh, like the clock's reset, I can start, yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, can I add real quick?
All in me?
We need the dates before the 10th of September, so the city attorney can write it into the official
Okay,
record,
Okay.
so we can inform the police department and vote on
Before
it.
September what?
Before September 10th, everything has to be
Right.
the
We've already
attorney's
done, too.
office on what dates.
I did forget that.
So in none of the
Wrote
days,
down here, forgot it.
Mr. Chair, so then,
Alderman Weigel.
so none of the days can really be
Who does the
before
findings
that
of fact?
September 17th
I,
meeting.
as the prosecutor, can't.
Correct.
Right.
none of the days can be before.
Before the 17th.
You can close.
The entire
obviously all you
council
want,
votes
But
on
it
it.
won't count as one of the days.
I don't
Right,
jot them down
okay,
if I can.
okay.
So you'll have 2 weeks to figure out what 30 days you wanna close, but you need to notify staff before the 10th.
Okay,
We'll talk. Give me a call. I won't be in most of the day tomorrow. I'll be in court all the day, but let's talk Thursday.
okay,
Okay?
yep,
Okay,
Alrighty.
that's it.
thank you.
Then item number 5, just, Melissa, should we, basically the same thing for 10 days. You know, you got 10 days till the end of the year, you put down what day it is, you have to get hold of the city attorney, work it out with him, and, once again, it'll be, by the 10th, you have to let them know, and it will be starting after the 17th of this month.
Of next month.
Next month.
So, yeah, next month,
It's
it's still August. I'm ahead of myself. Anybody else have anything?
Well, same thing.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
police department is gonna know.
Yeah, that's what.
Right, and everything.
To give you a time frame, it's 15 weeks from the 17th to the 31st of December. So.
Perfect.
Okay,
Okay.
understand?
Should we read out Las Palmas's too?
Yeah, we will. But you understand?
Yep, we're done.
Okay,
Are we?
Unless you wanna
Yeah.
hear what we're doing to the Las Palmas.
so,
No.
okay, item number 6, Las Palmas, we're shutting them down. Well, they're a restaurant, but they won't be able to serve any alcohol from October 1st to October 10th for 10 days. And, my understanding, we don't have to say why, we just, okay.
Correct.
Okay, so that's those, and we'll be voting on them after you, yes.
Sure.
Alderman Rowe.
And as,
Do we have a motion and a second for that findings and
Move
recommendation?
approval on that report.
second,
Thank you.
Well, I think the committee's just directing the attorney's office now, right? And then
Right.
we're gonna vote
I
on it.
thought we
when
weren't-
the papers
No.
are in front of us?
My understanding was we weren't gonna vote on this.
Whatever you decide today would go to the common council with findings of facts and recommendations. And so we'll have to draft up those documents and get those to common council. I guess procedurally, the item would be on the committee's report first and then would get referred to common council for their process. My recollection is, when we did this for one in the past, I think there was some discrepancy about what ended up happening and they ended up revoking that last place.
She
Right.
just turned it.
She
That's
turned it-
Class A.
I think
Talking about M&Ms?
No, I'm talking about
The liquor
Bunties
store?
a long time ago.
Oh,
Yeah. And so the findings of facts recommendations would get on this agenda. That would be our ultimate, but we're gonna be drafting it based on what we said today. So I guess there would be a motion in a second, I guess, in my opinion.
I move we direct the city attorney's office to draft it up
Effectuate that.
based on what we just
okay,
discussed.
all three of them?
recommendation,
All three of them.
5, 6, and 7?
Correct.
second,
Okay.
Since we have recess agendas, it's
Okay,
very easy to just get it on
On the recess
Me.
recess
agenda.
agenda
Yep.
without finalize
Vote.
it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that makes sense, because then we can avoid the issue that you're
The only
talking about.
question here.
Because if something's wrong on there, then we can.
Okay, so we put this, do we put down for approval though, or just leave it?
It would be other, and I would put
Okay,
recommended
okay.
for findings and
Direction.
recommendations to city attorney.
I'm not looking, I can see, I hope the wrong ones. Okay, is there any further discussion on these three? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion's carries. Okay. Where was it? Oh, I'm sorry, we got the wrong, that's wrong. Okay, then we have item number 7, this was the original police report. I just wrote it on the wrong one. This is the original police report for it.
Move to place on file.
Jeez, didn't give it. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. One second. Okay, then we have item number 2. This is, about license applications?
Mr. Chair, if we want to do 2 and 8 simultaneously.
Right, I saw, okay,
Yeah.
good.
So, I've never seen it documented that way in an agenda before.
What's that?
Documented.
Just license applications,
Yes.
no names or anything?
Correct. So,
So who?
Mr. Chair, if I may start.
Go ahead.
Okay, so, Nick and I, Kale, in addition, have come to the committee in the past, seeking some advice on, like, renewal, I'm sorry, operators licenses and the guidelines for the actual violations that are considered. Since I've been here, I've been taking a look at some of the processes that we have going on, and I'm trying to simplify and expedite some of the processes that we're doing. So I just want you to know that currently we've done, we recently changed the whole process how we do background checks. Previously, we would send physical applications that were inter-office mailed to the main station, police station. They would do 2 of the background checks, 3 total checks that they do. A DOT check, their local system, which is the Phoenix, that's all their local contacts. And then through this WORKS program, the Crime Information Bureau, you actually have the reports that's what the police department was getting. Then they would inter-office it to the satellite station to, I think, do this report, which then they would inter-office it back to the main station, and then they would compile all the data, manually transfer all that information onto those handwritten reports that you've seen.
Oh, wow.
So I just wanted you to understand that there's an awful lot of,
Back and forth and handwork.
yes. Just the fact alone that they're inter-office mailing things to, like actual documents, that's taken away at least 2 or 3 days out of the process. So we're getting into the fact that the police department is going anywhere from 2 to 5 weeks in doing a background check for somebody. That really shouldn't happen that way. So recently we met with the police department, me and Janelle, met with the people who were dealing with all this. And we came up with a system where we have now a shareable document on a server, which when we get the application, we load in the information. You actually got the report. That's what the shareable, that's where that report is coming from with the list.
Which one, the first one?
Yeah,
The very first page of the document.
Oh, the one.
We actually have a few more
This?
pieces of information, yeah. So that's the list that we're using. When we get the application, we load in the information, periodically, the police will check on it, do their DOT check, and then their, local check. When they're done with that, then we have access to the WORKS program, and we go in and pull up this report. Now, I heard mention earlier that you like the old report.
I just don't like paging through
was
5 to 8
94 pages.
pages
I
to
yeah,
find.
totally agree
Yes,
with
it
you.
was 94 pages.
Tell me what
I'm
happened.
stuck in a dilemma.
Yeah.
I can either take all this information and transfer it to that report, which then I gotta list out all the charges, the conviction, the dates, all that stuff. We found it easier, it was just easier to create a PDF, stick it in a folder, and then this is what you would get. Talking to other municipalities, this is what their license review committees get, is this report. I'm trying not to make it overbearing, but it's a fairly well laid out report. I don't know if you actually went through one of them.
Yeah.
It's kind of easy to read. It goes through the cycles. There's offenses on here that you may not care about, and then there's offenses that you may care about. So the whole goal of this is you will get the documents. Ann sends them out on Friday. I'm trying to talk her into getting it out on Thursday. So you get it a little bit in advance. So theoretically, you would look at this ahead of time and probably formulate your own decision.
How long does this take for the whole process?
Prior to that, it was taking about 2 to 5 weeks
Right.
for the police department involved. This, per person, probably takes a minute or two. It depends on how fast someone can type into that spreadsheet, and then you just type into the works program and then create a PDF file. That's not a whole lot, maybe 5 minutes at the most. So honestly, it is saving an awful lot of time, especially with the police department, who,
sure they're happy.
quite honest, yes, they're happy. It's dispatchers that are doing this. So during heavy times like State Fair, we can't really rely on them to go into this system. So it's honestly saving a lot of time. The other piece of this, and that was the preamble, the other piece to this is the system we have set up now with the new change in the law with offering people the ability to provide evidence of rehabilitation. We don't really have a good system because right now we're like calling them in. We're not really saying why we're calling them in. They're not really coming prepared. So
Okay.
So that's why you have a list of people with their background checks. It's gonna be upon the committee to say, go through the 6 people that are on there and say, this one's fine, we can go ahead with approval, this one we want to call in. Those people would only appear on your monthly meetings. So you wouldn't have any appearances at recess.
Okay, but,
But we're still delaying.
so we're
with
saying
getting a
that we
license
got
for a month.
each, how many pages are each person? Like 3, 4
Well,
pages?
Yeah, the bad thing is, how long the record is, I suppose.
Yeah, and
It's
so,
the end of rap
so we
sheet,
gotta
the
go
first 3
through,
are-
we'd have to go through how many of those to say whether we want them in or not?
No, you just go through, we're just gonna go through this.
Yeah, but that
Yeah,
does
I
not
see.
include everything.
Yeah, but it includes everything we're allowed to think about.
I don't know, one of these people, the comments said, should not drink alcohol within, or be near alcohol within so many days.
But that was, how many years ago? At her
Oh,
background?
5.
Yeah.
That was my other question. I don't know how long their probation is.
This report shows all that
Yeah,
stuff.
that's in that report.
Right, just gotta dig for it. Yep.
Yeah.
So 5 years ago, she was told not to drink as long as, was that Borgward? I don't remember who
It
that
was a court order of some sort.
No, no, but who was the?
So you mentioned,
I can't remember which person it was.
you mentioned about delaying for a month. Quite honestly, most of these people are getting pretty quick licenses, so it's 60 days. The process will go, if any bad ones come on or come up like that, you'll get it at your monthly meeting. You'll go through and review any ones you want to pull and want to review or bring them in for your appearance. You'll actually make a motion to deny. We will then send them a letter, and I got copies of this letter. I wanted to show you this letter because this actually lists the 4 possible reasons you can actually deny. You know, like, we've been telling you that you should include your reasons in your
Yes.
denial.
Yeah.
This will help you guide, or give you a guide of the 4 reasons. So then,
We can't deny based on incomplete or inaccurate
well,
application?
that's the other thing. I took your advice and I removed that section. So our new
What?
application,
I like that in there.
no, you told me you didn't.
No,
So
no,
the-
no, about incomplete or inaccurate
So
applications.
the new one won't have them.
Oh, no, yeah, self-reporting what they're.
Oh, yeah, right.
Right, because we all agreed at one of the meetings that we mentioned, it just amounts to a memory test at times.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
So I took that out and now we tell them that we're just gonna do a background check.
yeah.
So the other aspect is you won't need to see these anymore because it's not gonna have any information on it.
So
But if they put down a false name or something,
you can deny for that.
Well,
you can
yeah,
deny for
The
that.
that'll
distinction
come up
is
with the background check.
in what this letter goes out for is for chapter 111 for
for the discrimination stuff, there's only certain convictions or
Apply.
right that would be substantially related, and so there's a whole other subset of reasons why we could deny in terms of you lied to us or you lied in your application, you've been misleading, things around that line. Now, this is a shall issue license, so we shall issue it if they meet certain requirements. But I guess my opinion to you is going to be that if they're lying to us, they don't need a chance to rehabilitate because there's nothing to rehabilitate. I mean, that's
They're not
for
rehabilitated.
that's for
They're
their that's
lying.
for their record.
Yeah, yeah.
We offer a chance to rehabilitate. We have to. We shall offer them a chance to rehabilitate based on their record. And then if they are rehabilitated, we've determined that, we shall issue a license. We don't get a choice after that point. So this rehabilitation process is related to record and record alone.
Mr. Chair, suspended driver's license. How did you get here tonight? A friend dropped me off, and then we get him on video hopping into their car.
Process-wise, my question would be, to some extent, how does that come up? So if you adopt this kind of method, and I guess maybe it'd be easier to talk kind of a flow chart of this, you're gonna get applications, or not actually the formal applications, you're gonna get names of people on two different, I don't say agenda items, is that how we plan?
Tracks.
Two different tracks, sure, that's a good way of putting it. One with a very clean record, one with people that you might want to look more into, okay? The clean record's probably gonna get passed through on everybody, the dirtier records are gonna be, okay, we'll have to make a decision on a case-by-case basis on these, and you're gonna deny some of those. Maybe some get passed through because they don't substantially relate, some get denied. They're not gonna be here on that date. You're gonna make that decision. So if we deny somebody for a bunch of OARs or OASs, operating after suspension, operating after revocations, they're not gonna be here to even drive here to lie to us. But we'll send them a letter and saying, hey, if you want to show us that you're rehabilitated, come on back and tell us why you're rehabilitated from your operating after revocations that you've had constantly for the last 3 years. If they show up and say, I have a license, well, that's a good factor for rehabilitation, I guess, on an OAR. We might want to ask them that. Do you have a license now? That's not a condition for getting an operator's permit. You can have an operator's permit and still be revoked of your driver's license. You just can't or shouldn't be driving here. If they say in that sense and they lie to us, yeah, I got my license and I drove here, it's all fine, and we realize that either they don't have their license or they lied to us about driving here, that's not based on their license that we're revoking or denying them. That's based on the fact that they're lying to us right to your faces.
So we can deny.
We can deny.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. We can deny it. We've already softly denied it at that point, based on their record. They haven't been rehabilitated because they lied to us, so we can deny for that, and based on the record, and based on the fact that they've lied to us.
Okay, if I may, one more.
Sure. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
when we always had the old system, it would say in bold type, license suspended, warrants. Are we gonna still get that?
I asked, after I talked to you, I shot an email to the people I've been dealing with asking, I haven't heard a response yet,
Okay.
whether or not there's warrants. Because I actually wanted to find out which check showed that there's a warrant. Was it their local check, was it the DOT, or was it through here? Because if it's on here, you're gonna know.
But they're still running the local. You said the police are still involved to some extent on this
Yeah,
one,
so
right?
I don't know what the local check involves. I don't know. Does that have it?
It does on Phoenix. It lists their name as having a warrant or not having a warrant. But they're not always
That's not-
cleared up in a timely fashion. So if the police are doing their own check, they should be able to determine whether or not there's a warrant.
Mr. Chair?
Alderman Weigl.
Sounds to me like we're gonna be seeing a lot fewer people.
Um,
It's only the
It
people who
remains to be
choose to
seen.
come in and challenge the denial.
I think you're gonna see a lot more people, but you're gonna make that decision. Or I mean, you're
No,
gonna
we
see
see
fewer
fewer people.
people, but you're gonna make that decision as a body.
Okay, here we're back. I know we discussed this before, though, is that now, you says, you know, like, right now,
I agree.
the clerk's office goes through and reads these all out, okay, these, they have nothing, they're just going through. Now, we're gonna see all those?
No.
You're still doing that?
So the process is gonna be, if they have nothing on there, that's gonna be automatic placement on the recess agenda.
Okay,
But it's still going to come to you.
Yeah,
right,
Their
right.
name will still be
yeah, cause you
on
still need
there.
to do the
Right,
recommendation.
right.
So that'll be automatic placement on the recess agenda. Any with violations will be automatic placement on the monthly agenda.
And then we're gonna have to go through a stack, or whatever it is, at that meeting, go through and say who we want to call in, or
Well, the ideal way is to do it.
just deny it. just-
Before the meeting.
Yeah, ahead of time.
But-
But you'll discuss it amongst the group at the meeting.
And deny or approve on that at that
Right.
point. And then if you deny, then they get a chance to come back in. if they want to, which is why, speaking to your point,
Right.
that less people would be coming in.
Yeah, we're gonna have a monthly meeting.
Right.
We'll get it on Friday, an email on Friday. You got all weekend to look at it,
Right.
and then on Tuesday, we're gonna sit down and go through them.
The other,
But there'll be nobody here.
There'll be nobody here.
Correct. So
It'll
based
go
on your
quickly.
decision at that meeting,
Right.
if you want to deny, or let's say you want to, just for sake, so backstory. If you want someone to appear, then you're gonna make a motion to deny. And then we'll send a letter. The next meeting, that's when they come. I did want to
Don't
mention.
appear, then it still goes to
Yeah.
deny?
Another little change to the benefit of the committee is they are gonna be told that the committee is, you can read the letter, the committee is gonna recommend denial. You have the opportunity, if you wish to have that opportunity, call the clerk's office. They are the ones scheduling the meeting, so you're never gonna have, you're never gonna hold them for non-appearance anymore. Except for those small cases where somebody calls and says, I
Someone calls in or
can't make
something.
it that day, or my car broke down, or something like that.
Okay, how about cases where, somebody's in a hurry to get a license or something? So you're saying basically there'll be no appearances at all at recess anymore?
Correct.
Okay.
Of these operators licenses and the general licenses, you'll still probably have them for retail business, like the Class A, Class B.
Oh, okay.
It'll shorten down the recess meetings.
Which is okay. But,
The biggest thing is creating black and white for my office and for you guys. Right now, it's like I'm making the choice. I
looking
should
pretty
be
gray in
making
my eyes right now, I tell you.
It's gonna take a little bit of practices with it.
Right,
and,
I know.
So,
Old
but,
dog, new trick thing.
Other
yeah.
cities are going through the same issue,
well,
you know?
this is how other cities are doing it. It depends on, I don't know, certain aspects of the clerk's office and whatnot, or if they came up with, like, City of New Berlin actually adopted those guidelines that we showed you before. It was Kale's advice not to adopt them, but I can use them. But it's really the statutory authority of the governing body to
Yeah.
make those decisions, and in the past, the
Who are
clerk's
you to?
been, right, who am I to make that?
the other caveat to this, if I don't mind, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No.
Is that part of this discussion could be, if you're worried about the amount of documents that you're getting into you on the have a record path, if there are certain things that you will, as a body, determine would never substantially relate. So if we're taking, for example, no traffic offenses other than OWIs and operating after suspension or operating after revocation would ever substantially relate. We never care about speeding, we never care about parking, and I would advocate that it's going to be very difficult to prove substantial relation to licensing between a speeding ticket or a parking ticket. Those are things that you could blanket tell us at this point. Leave those off. We never want to see those. Those would be as considered no record for our purposes. If you'd rather see all those, then you will get all of them. But I'm not.
But you're saying as far as with the new state laws that you can't use those whatsoever?
Even if you wanted to, I would tell you at the time this is not
Even if
probably
they
a
had
good idea to revoke or to deny.
15 driving after revocations has nothing to do.
I'm saying after revocations, I think we at least have an argument. Operating after
Speeding
suspension,
tickets.
operating after revocation, and OWI would be substantially related.
So we're talking seatbelt
Right.
violations, speeding
Oh, yeah, well,
tickets,
What about no
Okay.
insurance?
no insurance even.
So
Unregistered
before,
Depends what you guys want.
before
that's
you
the
used to
question.
send those to
Identity
us,
theft?
and we just pretty much run them through.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm saying traffic. I think identity theft, we'd have at least an argument, depending on what the facts and circumstances are, that it's substantially related.
Could we deny based on identity theft? Habitual law offense, I don't know if that counts.
Yeah.
The habitual law offender still needs to be substantially related. It's,
Yeah, that's what I'm
Is
asking.
that the too many points? What's that?
Yeah, we kind of left it kind of categorized rather than specific violations, so pending criminal charges. You
Well,
get to
here's
make that decision.
Oh,
if-
yeah.
Three,
Yeah.
a person, and again, this is all hypothetical, I don't see anyone in here with it, but
Right.
a person gets caught 3 times, committing credit card fraud or something like that. This person, we're trusting them to go into a business, you know, and
And again, that's
make
not,
decisions.
run credit
Is
cards.
that something
Yeah,
that we
or you-
can, is that something we can deny a license for, or is that something where we say, oh, it's up to the bartender? I mean, is that the health, welfare and everything of the city to make sure?
I'm gonna have a tough
People
time
aren't
making
fraud
that
against?
decision on the spot here. I think
Right.
it's gonna be a case by case basis. That certainly isn't something I would think would go on the clean record bill. I think that's something you guys have to consider. Yeah, I absolutely see the argument there that you are gonna be dealing with people that are potentially intoxicated, giving you their credit card to hang on to, and part of the licensing here is that you're responsible for people's
Welfare.
dealing out drinks. Right. I mean, you're supposed to call cabs when you need to. You need to cut people off. And here you are, having exhibited 3 times in the last certain period, or whatever we want to say, judgment that would cause us significant concern over your ability to act as a licensee in this circumstance. I'm not so sure we win in court, but I'm saying I think there's at least an argument to be had there, similar to OAR or OAS's operating suspension after operating after revocation. When we talked about those last time, I think I might have been the only person. I don't think Kale. I think there's some concern over whether those would substantially relate or not. I think we at least have an argument. It's up to you guys if you want to push that forward. I can advocate one way or the other way, and I think I think they have a chance to make an argument. No, we don't have a chance. I think there's a chance to make an argument for those, and operating after revocation or suspension.
Same thing could be with retail theft too.
Sure.
Yeah.
But those would not make it. I'm talking like if you guys think speeding tickets are never gonna have a shot. I mean, if you don't have eventually you get enough speeding tickets, you get revoked, and eventually if you get revoked, you don't have a license. Eventually, we might see you circularly here in that same circumstance then, because you're getting a bunch of OASs or operating after revocations.
Okay, how about the police reports? We call them in, I know, they got like the one that the two times that the police went there and the people are extremely intoxicated in fights and stuff. And we call those people in front of us purposely to tell them, hey, we told you we don't want to see this and everything, basically to instruct them that they're going in the wrong direction, and that if they keep going that way, we're gonna, take some chances of losing their license. Now,
Are you
Different
talking
process-
Operators or retail, like the business
Owners or
license
the bartenders?
I'm talking about the bar.
Yeah,
Sure.
Okay,
owners.
so that's
Right. And in some cases, the bartenders, if they're serving to the compliance checks.
This is the meeting. The discussion you're going to lose is Alderman Weigel's discussion about being a good bartender, calling the cops. That's the discussion we're going to lose out on here. That's the biggest negative I see about this stuff. If I'm
We're
getting
not
what you're
telling,
saying.
we're not sending that message to new people walking in the door.
Sure, right.
A letter. You've been
You
approved.
can also right, but the
Congratulations.
police reports are the people that screw up. They're gonna. You're still gonna get. That's a different process than this. That's completely different. Now, Kale's opinion, and Kale's my boss, so I'm gonna follow that opinion. Is that we probably shouldn't be doing that as frequently as they do because it might be creating a situation where you guys are construed to be prejudging a situation that I should be issuing someone's a complaint on. So whatever you want to decide on that, that's up to you. But that's separate from this. This is only
Okay.
somebody comes in, they want a license, and they have a past record. It's not things that have happened once we issued the license. This is only for a license that's gonna be issued, whether it's
Either a
new or
new
renewal.
or a renewal.
New or renewal, right.
So,
But like these 3 people that came in here, they had instances, they had problems that hopped up after they were issued their license, and then we issued someone's complaint, and they got to answer for those new actions that take place.
okay. And the other issue then basically it's up to me if I want to call them in and explain to them.
I don't know how that process works.
Because,
Yeah.
well, Ann sends me the police report, I look at it, I say, okay, call in, these people. And we're not calling them in to revoke their license, maybe right offhand, maybe it'd be something that they will, but we're calling them in basically saying that they're violating the rules and we tell them that they're on notice of potentially losing their license.
I think we probably have a different discussion on that. A, because it's not on the agenda. We're only talking about operators' licenses and then the general licenses. And B, I'd actually like to pitch something to you separately about those violations, whether or not we even have to put them on the agenda to begin with, or just send them to you and then you guys, like any one of you could say, I want this on the agenda, and we could do that. But that's not something we should probably discuss tonight.
Well,
Yeah,
it's still pertinent in a way because it's still something that comes through the system.
Right. This is, I guess, this is the initial view of that. Kale's 2 cents would be not to call as many people in or start to curtail that. Whether or not you had decided to take that advice or not is up to you.
Right.
That's a separate, that's after the license get issued. We're only talking about the issuing the license and which kind of, if we want to divvy up 2 paths and have clean licenses that get on the recess agenda and then a slew of licenses that you guys have to agree or disagree or discuss as to whether or not they actually even get a license in the first place. That's the only thing we're really talking about.
Okay, so we get these things all on Friday, we all read it over the weekend, and we come in on Tuesday, and then we debate each individual one.
Well,
We might be able to take
Mr.
it-
Chair, I have an idea, and it's something I wish our council did that other councils and committees do in other cities. Have a consent agenda. In which on the consent agenda, you just agree, we're gonna approve everything here unless someone specifically calls it out to be discussed separately. So you might have the list of all the individuals. We tell you or somebody else, I wanna call out this one, this one, this one. We approve all the rest except for those and take them up separately. That's what Milwaukee does,
This is
consent
actually
agenda.
baby steps to that.
Mhm.
I come from a place with a consent agenda, so I'm very familiar, and so did Kale. So these are baby steps to that. In addition to that, this is also a baby step into a new law that's currently being proposed to allow the clerk's office to automatically issue licenses. And that would be the ones that are all good, no problems, good to go. So they wouldn't even have to come through you anymore.
They could leave with the license that day.
Yeah,
No, they'd still go through
Well,
a background check,
yeah. we'd still
but it
do
only
that.
takes a minute.
That's right. Just hold on a minute, sir. Or ma'am, or whatever.
But
Yeah, so Milwaukee has a unanimous consent agenda, and if the aldermen don't call by a certain time, certain things automatically go on the unanimous consent agenda. You pass it all in one big block. Items 10 to 50 pass,
Yep.
and then the rest of them you go through.
Mr. Chair. So conceivably, you could say, I mean, if one of the alders gets in their mind, okay, I want 2, 5, 6, and 8 to be denied, and everything else I don't think has a record that substantially relates, then you can make that motion at the outset and say, I'm moving to approve
Everything except.
everything except these ones, and then you have 5 left, and then you debate those, or whatever you want to do on them.
But
When I run the advisory
different
committee,
people-
that's what we do.
Yeah.
Say,
Generally,
everybody, let's take them all
different
at
people,
once.
different people at, but we could have different numbers, right?
certainly,
Right.
right.
You know, so if there's 10, all 10 could be,
Conceivably, you could have a
All 10
meeting where
being
everybody
called
gets
in.
reviewed.
okay. Well, I like the idea of saving the
progress.
police department time,
Mm-hmm.
and this is progress, I guess. And with the changing of the laws, but, so, anybody else have anything?
Mr.
I think it's good
Sure.
steps.
Progress, I guess.
Yeah.
And Alderman May mentioned this to me. Could someone explain this to us? Have
Yeah,
a little,
sure. That was
like a
gonna
little
be planned
class,
tonight.
like,
Cycle 01,
Yep.
cycle
What's next?
That's next.
Oh,
If
and-
we,
I'm
If-
sorry.
Mr. Chair, if I can
Go
as
ahead.
well. In addition to that, maybe if you have an example community that does this and you've got a good, maybe call up their clerk and say, give me a good example of how the committee runs based on this system that you're discussing.
this
Let us
is,
know if we can watch it at home or
kind
something.
of how I did it.
Yeah,
This is how I,
right, but if you can
What-
give us an example meeting for us to watch to see how
Oh.
they proceed thugh their proceedings,
assuming they televise it, sure.
It's
Yeah.
recorded somewhere, I would assume.
I just think it'd be good to see how they run it. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll have to find one that doesn't talk a lot, you know.
Yeah.
Prior to switching bases, just very briefly, and going, how do we review this? Is there anything, a timeline that you want to make sure that is considered or not considered? Traffic offenses,
yeah.
anything that you want to direct us at this point? Otherwise, it's going to be no record in any record.
Oh,
If
so
that's
like
what you want.
anything more than 10 years old, we don't care about?
Right, anything over 10 years old, excluding OWIs and certain offenses, whatever you want to tell me or tell us, it's up to you guys. We can just have it no record, and that's going to be a fair amount of documents coming to you. If you want to say no record and most traffic, not including OAS, OAR, and OWIs, we can do that and see how many documents that gets to you. We can cross this bridge down the road too. If you would say, okay, now we're getting way too many, let's only do the last 10 years. We can
Yeah,
parse anything
we
out.
notice
why don't
that
we do-
we're not looking at these things.
Right.
We keep letting these go.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to at this stage?
is the warrant thing still gonna be on there?
He's gonna have to figure that one out.
Yeah, I'll have to find
Warrants
out.
automatically come.
You want warrant information. Yes. Done.
Okay,
We'll figure out a way to make that happen. I'm not saying done, but that's not gonna get passed through.
Done.
And the suspended driver's licenses. I know you mentioned all the other things with the OARs, but I'd like to know that.
Oh, the status of their current license. Yes.
I would tell you that is not a reason to deny somebody.
It's not a reason to apply. I mean, it's not a requirement to
Right.
apply.
But it's how we'd find out if they're lying to us.
Through bringing them in for denying them or something along those lines.
Oh, yeah, they'd have to be denied already. We're not gonna see them till they're denied.
Yeah, and then they're
So you
gonna
can
get a
deny 'em
letter
for some-
saying they were denied for this reason, and like, well, unless they're not thinking clearly, they'll probably not come here with, they'll probably get driven here or something.
People lie all the time to us, and that's,
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense to
Yeah.
me, but for what it's worth, and I don't disagree with you one bit, I don't like when people lie to you either, and I'm a prosecutor, I don't like people lie to anybody, or me especially. But having a driver's license is not a condition to getting an operator's permit.
Right.
We couldn't consider that even if we wanted to. And so really the only end around to get to that information is if they have enough violations that we would deny them, we can definitely ask them, especially in the OAR or OAS offenses, hey, one of the things that might rehabilitate you that we would think would be very persuasive is if you have a license now. You did all the work to get your license back after being revoked for some period of time. Oh, I did that, and or I didn't do that. No, I don't have a license. Well, we can't deny them just because they don't have a license. Did you drive here? Yes. Okay, well, you're still breaking the law, and we're going to deny you anyways. I mean, it's just, practically speaking, that is, proceed how you see fit. I can't tell you how to do your job, but that wouldn't, having a license, the fact that they do or don't have a driver's license would not hold up in court. Lying would, I think. Having a
But I
bunch of
think that's-
OARs would.
I
think
think
it's
it'd
all
just
the
be
Weigel's
helpful
point is,
having a suspended license if we knew about it to see if they're lying or not. We don't have to ask them right then.
Sure. Right, okay, so if we do, or if they deny them and we order them in, and then we ask if they drive, we can catch them in a lie right there, is what you're saying.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to back up a little bit here. I understand is, what you're asking is those we automatically pass. And it'll be put on maybe a consent agenda or something, okay? And then you'll have those that you automatically deny.
It goes to you guys to make that decision.
yeah.
We will always
It
be
all comes
making
to
the
us.
decision.
I thought you were saying you would automatically deny,
No, I'm sorry.
and then that would force them to come
Nope, it would
explain
get,
themselves.
we-
Okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood that
Automatically
part then.
placed on the recess agenda.
Got it.
With basically this wording that you're gonna, so every monthly, I'm sorry, it'll automatically be placed on the monthly agenda. So every monthly
Got it.
agenda is we're gonna be reviewing license to determine whether or not to recommend approval or denial.
Got it.
I'm sorry if I misspoke. There'll be
I
two tracks.
thought you were saying there was an automatic
No.
deny. You have a
Nope.
warrant, automatic deny.
Nope.
No.
The only automatic if they have nothing, or we.
It won't be an automatic.
Or
it'll-
we establish,
They're gonna go to
Anything
two
past
piles
10
to
years,
you.
right.
Nothing's automatic
Still
right
goes
now.
to you, right.
Right.
Two piles to you.
Right,
This
right.
one is easy,
Probably
just
good.
rubber
Right.
stamp, and this one, we need to look at.
but, I don't know about the 10-year thing yet, I don't know how everybody.
Yeah, 10 years
10
on
years
some
seems
things.
reasonable.
Felonies?
I don't know. Felonies for
People change
I
violent
mean, don't you,
felonies?
you only
I
have
know.
6 on tonight, right? I mean, it's something that you can think about and see what's coming
Yeah,
up.
we can
Sure.
go through these 6 and see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're only doing 6 at a time, and it's
Yeah, these would be
manageable.
our
You go through
examples,
6
right?
now,
Let's
you
go
mean?
through 'em.
The ones we have, the,
The ones, number 2.
Okay, I don't have them, I didn't print them out. I saw that printing, I said, I'm not printing
it
them.
was 94 pages.
Okay.
Was it?
Well, that's what the packet was, everything with
Yeah.
all the summons. and
That's why I
complaints
said
on
I'm not printing that.
Yeah,
Especially since I looked at this, what the hell?
The other thing
What
is,
is
I
this?
talked to Ann, the other stuff that's on the agenda,
It's
you
at
can
least
access
70
right through
pages.
the agenda, so there's really
Yeah.
no need to. So the only thing you're gonna get is the list and then these reports.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get the other stuff.
Well, we have 2 people with 2 OWIs.
Yeah, let's skip the first one, actually. One of these was,
Yeah, cause you wanted me to go through.
one of these was more
Alderman
interesting.
Chapletsky, it actually starts with this
These are-
list,
Right.
but I started taking notes on it, so
Oh, okay.
ignore my
Okay.
notes.
Okay.
So you wanted me to go through,
I'd be curious,
That's-
can we start, Mr. Chair, if you don't mind, Mr. Regan,
Okay, so we're gonna be going through,
an example?
this stuff, okay, just, so this, I don't even need that.
He's got a little bit of a deeper record. I'm
Right.
just curious to see like what we're allowed and not allowed to look at. So.
just FYI, program wise, I could probably get something created where there's like bookmarks, so you can skip right to the.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I don't print them out, and when I'm sitting here, I'm always
Yeah,
like,
you gotta keep thumbing through them. Yeah, but these
never
are nice
know.
because they have their picture and you can, you have a scroll bar on the right side.
Yeah, but what happens when you hit it? It'll scroll forward like 5-10 pages. So
Yeah,
if
it
you
goes to
only-
the picture. So I can, on the scroll bar, I can see right here, oh, there's the picture of the
Okay,
guy.
now hit the next page. Let's see what page you land on. How many more pages does it advance?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so anyway, okay. I think he's got an interesting one, Mr. Chair. If you don't mind, we take up that one first.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Good, fine, go.
So cycle one, for example. For Mr. Regan, can you walk us through?
Sure.
What we're looking
Okay.
at?
So we got, just to let you know, the first 3 pages on these reports are just basic information
Yes.
about the system.
Looks like
Boilerplate.
That boilerplate.
Jinx by
Then you get
default.
into the identification, and let's start with cycle 1. The thing to pay attention on are these red cycles. Oh, those are.
They're not red for them.
Yeah,
Just
it's
the word
cycle.
cycle.
Oh,
Yeah.
yours isn't red. Okay.
Just the word
The
cycle
red-
denotes a series. It's like a case. Think of it
Right.
that way. That's a series of an event.
And there could be multiple charges within that.
Yeah.
There can be multiple charges within a series or a cycle. Each cycle represents a new series, a new event.
So he's got a May 5th, '08.
Yeah.
Bad series of events.
So it's pretty easy. It goes through the whole cycle of an event. So you have the arrest, you got the charges.
So let's read them. Battery, disorderly conduct, carrying concealed weapon, resisting or obstructing an officer. And then he goes to court.
Then he goes to court.
He's charged with battery. No, charge
all
one,
cycle.
battery is dismissed.
Yeah.
Correct?
So throughout, before you even get to court, there might be changes to the charges, which I've seen in here, dispositions below some of the charges.
Well, that's what I'm getting to. So
Yeah.
it says charge, then it says court. Now it says for the charge of battery, disposition dismissed. Charge of disorderly conduct.
Yep.
He's convicted. Charge concealed weapon. Disposition not reported. What does that mean? They didn't even consider it?
No, it wasn't reported to
Wasn't
The
reported to
the
system.
the.
CIB
Okay.
system that
Charge,
maintains these.
Obstructing.
Yeah, there's a sentencing here too as well.
For resisting obstructing, he's not reported. The sentence, for the sentencing, first thing says nothing, the second one says 3 days. No, he's
Time
Milwaukee
served,
County House of Corrections, time served 3 days, length 60 days. I don't know what that means.
He got 60-day sentence and he already served 3 of them.
Yeah, it's just three. Okay, gotcha. And then the next one, sentencing.
But your question was with
I
the
don't know. I don't know what that
disposition not reported. So I'm looking
Then he
down
was
then.
put on probation.
probation for a year.
But they're the same day, but different case? No, same case.
You can get
He
different
got both
sentences.
sentences.
You get different sentences for different charges
Got
on
it, okay.
the same offense or same complaint.
And then
So
he
what
had,
he actually probably happened is he got a year of probation with 60 days if he messed up on probation.
But you get several things. It looks like that, and then it
pay
says.
costs.
It says pay all costs and surcharges
Yep.
by four
Those are your
or.
rules of probation essentially.
Okay, sentencing, completed domestic violence program, completed anger management program.
Yep.
It never tells us that they completed it.
Correct.
Right.
But we,
That would be
but if they haven't completed they haven't shown they've been completely
Rehabilitated.
rehabilitated.
You don't have to consider that till they want to show you, evidence of rehabilitation. You can deny it based on you got this many charges and convictions. We don't really have to care at that point. They can come back in and say, I completed my probation. This is what I did. Here's a letter. I'm
So on this,
Mother Teresa now.
this is from 2008, so we probably wouldn't even see it if we're doing this 10-year thing. But hypothetically, completed an domestic violence program, completed an anger management program, we could say, whoa, all right, you're denied. And they have to come back and show us that they completed the domestic violence and the anger management program.
whatever it means to you, right? Yep.
So, but now he's got something here, the next cycle is 2014. So if we do see him, let's say we do just a 10-year look back, for purposes of denial, we then see his entire record, not just a 10-year look back when the time comes? The 10-year look back would trigger the denial.
No, the 10-year, we're saying we're gonna put, if you guys put that 10-year
Review,
limitation,
further
we'll
review.
put it on the
Right.
easy pile and not the, we need
The
to
easy
talk
button.
about.
Yeah.
I still get the whole report
Yeah.
in here.
Yeah,
Maybe at this outset, at the initial start,
we don't
where we
have
do this, we don't have a
time.
timeline.
Yeah.
Maybe we just
Right.
don't have a timeline.
We
You get
get it.
everything. That isn't maybe traffic or whatever you guys
Yeah.
decide, just to see how it looks.
Okay.
So then cycle number 2, he's got an OWI, DWI operating with PAC. What's that?
Prohibited alcohol concentration.
Oh, thank you.
And why,
Over a point oh eight.
is that, and that's separate than OWI?
I can
They're
convict.
always charged separate, but
on the
usually
committee.
you only get one usually. It should
Maybe
be-
there was a problem.
Yeah.
And he's got marijuana, THC,
Marijuana. So then he goes to court on the OWI, charge severity,
municipal.
non-criminal disposition convicted. Charge, operating with PAC, misdemeanor, dismissed. Next one, marijuana, non-criminal, dismissed. Sentencing, 7 months is what, all it says, I don't know what 7 months
That's his
is.
7 months for revocation, cause it was a first OWI.
Oh, sentence, license revoked, I see it right above it,
License.
sentence, license revoked for 7 months. Also, ignition interlock for a year, and, I don't know what the next one is, sentence fine.
Right,
Yeah. So on
We
a
got a
ci-
fine.
On a
Yes.
civil matter,
I'm reading it, these.
on a,
fine.
The
You're
sentence is
fine.
fine,
You're
it's
fine.
a good one.
You're
on
fine.
OWI first, you can't have jail time unless you injure somebody or have a child in the car.
Got it.
Cycle 3.
But based on this one, could you say, boy, you've got an interlock, you obviously have a displayed issue with alcohol.
Yes.
You could have 5 cycles, and you can go through the first 2 and said,
Denied.
That's all we need to see. Bring it in.
Yep.
Yeah.
We think it, well,
Deny
denied.
him.
Deny.
Deny.
And then make him come in and prove.
make him
Yes.
and make an argument on
Yep.
why he shouldn't be denied.
And I think at that point you should make a brief record of why you're denying it, and it would be one of these reasons that substantial. The convictions, he's got a habitual offender, and it substantially relates to the licensed activity.
No, I've got the whole thing here, Mike.
Drugs and
I've got
OWIs.
Right, what you're saying, thank you.
Which is why how would the DV be related?
It doesn't- If you find offenses that you think you want to argue substantially relate, we'll have to get creative in how you argue that. And I'll tell you what I think.
And I'm not speaking
Why they're not.
specifically on his.
No,
about
no,
being creative.
no.
We're just
I'm
using this as an
saying
example.
This is an example. It's a real case in front of us right now, but
It don't really have to be.
So cycle 3
2016, he did it
is,
again.
yep, operating while revoked.
Possession of marijuana, but we can only consider the things that have not been dismissed. So on possession of drug paraphernalia, the disposition is dismissed. So that charge is dismissed. He's innocent of it, hypothetically, if it's dismissed, right? Next one.
Hypothetically, it could be dismissed for. It could be we negotiated an outcome here, and you're going to plead to these things, and you're not. So
He also has probation, and he's got 16 months of a license revoked in 2016, and he's got an ignition interlock again on there for another 16 months. He's got. He needs to have an alcohol assessment. He needs to have 40 days in the House of Corrections. He needs 6 months of probation by judgment. Well, how all this adds up. Okay. With Huber privileges, and he's got a fine, and I mean, there's a lot of sentences to go with this one.
Yep.
Attend cognitive thinking program. So we could say denied. Show us these things because you've got the OWI, you've got.
you could just say deny,
Awesome.
and it's up to him to decide if he wants to.
Well,
Yeah.
we have to give the reasons.
Like,
why.
this
No.
would be a habitual
No, yours
offender.
says.
But yours, you'll just circle
It just
habitual
says-
law offense.
You
Yeah.
have to, okay.
Habitual, number 4,
You have
habitual
to
law.
circle one?
Well, no, I mean, that's gonna be the record they make on the record is saying, we're denying this license because the applicant has a habitual, is a habitual law offender and they substantially relate. I would want that extra sentence in there because habitual law offender is still subject to chapter 111, meaning it has to still substantially relate. But with OARs, with weed, with OWIs, I think we've more than enough to go on in this guy so far that he's got substantially related.
He did it again in 2018,
Right.
December of 2018.
At least I have arguments to make.
Well, yeah, he has the 3, did he get a third in 2018? Is that what happened?
If I'm reading it correctly.
Well, it should be on the cheat sheet.
Even if he didn't have the 3, he's got
Two.
a record of
He's got a
habitual law
14,
offenses,
16 OWI.
right? 16.
And there might be
That did this
circumstances,
year.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I'm sorry, I don't want to.
No, this
There
is,
might-
it's open discussion.
There might be
At this point.
there might be circumstances where you have 2 OWIs on somebody's record, and it shows up on here, and one's from 1999 and one's from 2001, and that person you might treat completely differently than you have somebody that has 2016 and 2018.
Yeah.
I think,
It was after 10 years, you'd
right,
think.
Yeah.
Well, and even if you don't have a timeline on there, you can say in your heads, okay, well, in my opinion, this shows already, without having to have them come in there, that they've been rehabilitated, because it's been 20 years since the last one. Whereas somebody who has multiple recently denied, and come on in and show me why you're different. So we can deny, we don't have this blanket rule where like 2 you're okay, 3 you're not. It can,
2 recent or 3 vintage.
Sure, whatever you wanna do, and that,
3 vintage may be okay.
right.
Vintage.
To be officially vintage, it has to be 25 years.
I mean, just looking at this, I would say he's got 2 OWIs. He's
Yes,
got
he has two
possession
other-
of THC. He's got
yeah.
the possession of the drug paraphernalia, possession of controlled substances.
Mrs. Regan, correct?
Right here, I mean, if we are taking this up, I don't know if we are, I'd recommend denial based on the habitual law offenses, right?
That substantially relate to the license.
That's substantially
activity.
related to license
We
activity.
can add that to the language here.
Yeah.
And Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion on this one if it's germane.
He has misdemeanor convictions too.
Okay, yeah.
So it could be 2 and.
Well, these are, are
Some-
these,
Substantially
wait,
related to.
are,
Well, the OWI.
are these, for example, are these actual ones that we have to
These
take?
are actual ones.
And so we, but they're not on the agenda.
They are on the
So
agenda.
the way it's gonna work is you're
Oh,
gonna.
you're right. They're
No,
not.
no, if,
Yes,
I
they
mean.
are.
They are on the
for today,
agenda.
they're on the
They're
agenda
on
for
tonight's
today.
agenda.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah,
These
okay.
are ones that are
Under-
on tonight.
under that
Under
blanket.
one.
No,
On-
no,
that.
no.
Yep,
Number
under that
2.
blanket.
Under
Number
number
two.
Two
two.
license applications
Oh, I see.
Right.
for
And
consideration.
there's a list that if you click on the agenda, there's a list that it attaches. So tonight, you're gonna, of the 6, you're gonna say this one, you're gonna deny, you're gonna make the motion to deny.
So I got them all mixed up here now.
Sorry, Mr. Chair.
No, that's okay.
And the other ones, you're gonna actually,
Go through.
basically tell us to add it to the list of approved ones, cause we're gonna still have. a
You'll have time to
list.
get it on the list for
Yeah, you
approval.
don't wanna have to make a recommendation twice, basically.
Okay.
So we wanna go back to
So-
the first one?
Yeah, I think
So
so.
back to the first one.
Did you make a motion on Reagan already, or are we gonna go to the top?
We're just gonna do them in
I,
order.
I'll withdraw my motion, and then at the end, we'll call them all out separately, I guess.
Then they'll appear on the agenda next month separately.
Correct.
Okay.
This is gonna get interesting. The work of the committee got a little deeper.
We got a little more work to do now,
I think-
for a while.
That's
We'll
all
sort
right,
it
I'm
out.
not complaining.
I
I'm
think
just-
Alderman May, if I put together something with the bookmarks, it might help
Yeah.
go through these reports.
Yeah.
As long as everyone knows how to use bookmarks.
Now that I know how to read them, they're relatively easy to read.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, generally, okay, I see there's, on this one, there's domestic abuse related battery charge. I, that
Well,
doesn't
we're on-
relate,
Well, which one are you looking at?
the,
Oh, yeah, okay.
yeah, yeah. That, I mean, those charges are sometimes, as far as I know, sometimes when the police are called, someone has to be arrested, right? Or someone has to be charged or something.
Somebody's not gonna be there for a short period of time.
Yeah.
Whether or not they get charged is a decision by the DA's office eventually.
Yeah. So I'd be less, I guess, depending on what her disposition was, well, she was convicted. As a misdemeanor, but it was,
But you have to
18
relate
years.
it to
Yeah.
the operation.
so we're talking about essentially 2 OWIs,
Mm-hmm.
one in 97 and one in '04.
Another in 06. Actually,
What?
so here, we're talking about that first person, right?
Yes,
You go to cycle 7, it says in 2006, operating while intoxicated, charge severity misdemeanor, but then it never tells us what happened in court.
You're in the 7th cycle?
Yep.
yeah, it just says end of rap sheet.
So what does that mean? Pending? She can't still be pending 14 years later.
No.
Cycle 6.
Yeah.
Does it say anything on the,
Oh, here.
on the spreadsheet?
The cheat sheet,
I
it says,
found it.
it has 2 OWIs. And it says 11/26/97 and 11/2/05, OWI.
It doesn't list the 06.
I'll hit a real quick CCAP search.
So the other thing is, there's times where you might just rely on the DOT check that the police reports out, because if.
Just this.
Yeah, if we agree to take out the speeding tickets and stuff, the only thing they're gonna be reporting are DUIs, OARs, and OASs. So if they have multiple on that sheet, you could use that alone.
The,
You don't
the,
have to
More
read the report.
info on
I
yours.
believe the hard copy version is missing a
Yours
sheet.
has more info than mine is.
That was my
That was,
sheet
those are
that I
all her
was
notes.
taking notes
This is
on.
all her notes. I'm using hers, yeah.
11 of 12. Oh, it must be
Okay.
missing 12 of 12.
Yeah.
So Rebecca has how many
Probably just
OWIs?
Yeah.
it's fine.
So what did we establish? How many is
I
there?
just need to know
I'm
how
looking.
to
Oh, you
proceed.
still looking?
Yeah.
I'm fine here.
Yeah, they're saying,
Go ahead.
unless that's
Go
six
ahead.
oh
Like I gotta
five.
give you permission. What is
This
this?
online version,
Passed.
or at least it was the attached, the
Level 5, okay.
the whole file, I'm scrolling through the whole packet.
Oh, yeah.
05 CT, you
Make
got it
sure
right
it's-
here, view case, criminal traffic.
33.
No contest or guilty on operating while under the influence, second offense.
Second?
That's what it says here.
23.
Date of offense, 6/05/05.
It's 05 CT, which is the third,
What cutoff?
that's the right,
Like that first one?
Dodge
We
County.
only got
yep, it's in Dodge
first
County.
11
I look at all of them
of
though.
the 12
What
pages.
cycle, Alderman?
This one is
Seven.
on
Cycle 7.
20.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no.
Rebecca, I'm sorry.
I thought that said 33. Never mind.
Like I said, I just took the file and
Rest
combined it with Adobe.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm just making sure that.
Okay.
Because Jenny's creating these PDFs, right?
right, she sent them to me and then I just,
10 of 11, 11 of 11. Yeah, so it was just that one.
cause I'm gonna rely on
She's
Jenny
nothing
to do
charged
these
criminally
Yep.
for me.
since
but
05 CT.
So that 11/2/05,
I
is there a
wanna dabble
conviction
in
date that's listed on the
she's
spreadsheet?
Understanding.
You don't want to dabble in the magic?
I
sorry,
don't
what's
wanna
11
dabble in
205?
magic.
On the spreadsheet. She has 2 OWIs. It's at the
So
top there.
11 of
One says
12.
11 of 205.
Oh.
That's the last one.
That's the conviction of that June '05, right? Okay,
As far as I'm seeing on CCAP, she only has 2.
yeah.
And all the other things.
And she's had a license in West Allis before, because I know she worked for me 15, 20 years ago. And she was working at Bunker since then, because we had her in here before that, probably on these 2 licenses. She's been called in before us before.
So there's two.
Well, because it wasn't listed as a renewal, it's treated as
It's
a
a new license.
Yeah, so we didn't look up past.
She's been called in here before us before, I know her. She was waitressing at Bunker,
Same,
when it was,
Rebecca Ward,
you know, 81st and Greenfield.
and only 2 of
That's a
them.
while ago.
Yeah, she's not as, no.
Procedurally speaking, if we can make the argument that somebody's license substantially relates and they've got these convictions, you could make the motion to deny and put it on them to come in and show why they should. I mean, these are somewhat dated, but they still substantially relate, and I don't have any information that she's feeling better now. It's an option.
So the last thing was cycle 7 then.
14 years ago.
Yep.
But there's still 2
Do we know
OWIs.
where she's working?
That's
We don't
good.
have her
No,
application.
because I haven't put the new applications into play yet, which have replaced employment.
Because, you know what, we asked that,
But it doesn't matter.
but it does in a sense. I mean,
I like it for the police department purposes, so they can see that there's a licensed operator and they can see it's at that bar, but it's not.
yeah, right, they could quit the day, they get the license and work
It's only
anywhere
for
in the city.
information purpose, there's no
Yeah.
requirement that they have
Yeah.
to do that.
And we don't even get a letter from the owner anymore, do we?
No,
No.
however, did you want to?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, when we send these letters, I do have a place on here for place of employment. So I will be CCing their place of employment.
Yeah. We get confirmation from the owner on provisional licenses, right? No, not anymore, none of that, we used to, yeah.
Yeah, I found out we were issuing provisional licenses for place of employment instead of the person. Like the person and the place of employment.
Right.
So
Right,
they
it should be
could
both.
actually have like 3 provisional licenses and can't do that.
Yeah, say something.
I hesitate to say this even, but I guess we haven't really talked about it. Say there's a circumstance like this one, where in the past they probably would have called this person in to talk about what's going on and put their minds at ease. Do you think there's, the reason I hesitate, because I don't want this exception to swallow the entire goal of what you're trying to do here, is there circumstances where you think it'd be appropriate to call somebody in prior to making a decision to revoke or deny and say, hey, we are on the fence on this one, sell us on why you should get a license? My caveat with that is being, if the only reason we get to have her in here is if we deny and she decides not to show up or doesn't think to show up or doesn't get the mail and misses it, I don't know. I'm just wondering if there's
So-
a mechanism in place for,
Through our discussions, we've effectively called it a soft denial.
sure.
So I did want to impress, the first one's a soft denial. After you meet and talk with them, that is when your denial recommendation will be forwarded on. So I think with the process, with the new law change, with the having to show evidence of rehabilitation, this is a cleaner way to accomplish that law, and that's part of the reason we're changing it this way. The other way, it's like, are we really following the law with having them come in here ahead of time?
The gray area is whether or not we have to make them come back again for another chance to show rehabilitation. If somebody's gonna show up that day and say, well, I have rehabilitation now, I agree with it's murky. But if we send them a letter and say, hey, we had you in front of us once, not had you in front of us, we reviewed your license and the committee is considering denying your license. We haven't done so yet. I guess my concern is that if denial is closing the book and the only reason you get your book back opened up is if you reach your hand in there and open it up, maybe we don't want to, maybe the committee right off the bat doesn't make the decision if it's closed or open right yet. You convince us one
The
way or the
committee
other.
is considering your license, and based on review, you've been summoned to appear or whatever.
I'm not, again, maybe that's gonna eat the rule
Yeah.
of what we're
Yeah.
trying to do.
No, it's effectively doing it. It's just procedurally, we set it up. Kayla and I were talking about
Yeah.
it. We're kind of just set it up as just make a decision to deny. That recommendation isn't going to go to the council until they talk with the person.
Well,
And
if
then
they-
at
only
that
if
point,
they
you
call us.
change
Only
your-
if they come in. It's gonna really matter how that letter is written.
That's
People
That
get a
is
letter,
how the letter
people
is
get a
written.
letter from the city and it
Yeah.
says, you've been denied. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Pardon my French. Pardon my French.
Yeah.
But,
Got that on camera?
Okay,
beep,
yeah.
It's like I'm at work again.
but you see, maybe it should be something like, you're potentially on track for not being granted this license. Your presence is requested, required.
Well, and
It's not gonna be required unless they want to show up, but, we somehow stress the importance of getting off their duff and getting something done.
Yes, yeah.
So it's because
They gotta convince us, but we don't wanna just completely slam the door shut on them with
Well,
that
that's
letter.
why that committee recommended denial. So that's where the language came in.
But people see that government recommends something
But,
they
yeah.
see that as a foregone conclusion.
there's gonna be a lot of people that look at that and say, it's not worth fighting.
Yeah.
It's not worth going and doing that. So
And maybe that's the case.
is
That's
it a
why we make
good,
record
is it a
right
good
off
or
the
bad
bat.
thing?
Yeah.
You know? Could be something,
Well, I
so.
can tell you, everybody's trying to hire bartenders right now. You look on the Facebook groups, yeah.
Well, anything like that. So,
Sorry about that.
what's my recommendation on, number one?
Yeah, it's, Mr. Chair.
Alderman May.
The last case listed doesn't tell us what happened from it, and I apologize, I stepped out. Did we ever figure out what happened to
Yeah.
that?
It was conviction on, as an OWI second.
Okay,
So she's got 2 OWIs on the record.
okay. And she has to be rehabilitated before we approve, or is lack of rehabilitation, and I'm sorry because we keep coming back to this rehabilitation thing. How do we know that she's rehabilitated?
does she have a driver's
Has
license?
she, that second OWI, is that, do you have to wait till a sentence is complete before you approve, or is there a
can
reason for
decide
denial
on
if they
your
haven't
own.
completed their sentence?
You can decide on your own. You can say it's been since '04 or '05 or whatever it was. And
Yeah.
so
The likelihood
think-
is,
yes.
because we discussed that one, so.
You could, or you can say, I don't have enough information. Last thing we know, she got an OWI. So then
Well, and
it's up to you guys how you wanna substantiate.
wanna-
And we've asked people, tell us what happened to the OWI. Was it a crash? Where you got pulled over or burned out taillight? We've
That's-
asked people that.
That's exactly what you will be doing.
We
still.
will do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the fact is, it says habitual, but it doesn't really define habitual, so you get to make that decision.
Yeah,
what is
Mr. Chair, I think that last case was from like '05 or something, it was really old.
Yeah.
I think in that case, the chances 14 years later with nothing else on the record.
And we have nothing after that.
Right,
Nothing after Seco
so
7.
with her, I'd say put her on the unanimous consent agenda. Right?
I'd agree with that. No driving,
Even-
no tickets, no speeding.
Even
no
though,
nothing.
yeah,
Right?
even though there's
That
two.
would all
'Cause
showed
we-
up here as
We
another
passed something
cycle.
today, Ray, with two.
Right, that's.
Speeding
Well,
No.
Depends. on
Traffic
the
stuff would
survey.
not have.
That
Traffic
would
stuff
sh- That
I
would
think we
show
need
up
to
on
write a
their
letter.
DOT check.
on this.
Yes.
It would be on
They
here.
are still listing that until.
Oh, I see. There's somebody's got obstructing traffic and no insurance. Okay.
Okay, so,
That's a good question. You should ask that.
do we have,
It's like this.
Yeah.
So
the
it is two
registration.
OWIs, and
Yeah.
usually we like to
Yeah.
have them in front of us and give them the speech. Well, we like to have Marty give them the speech.
You know, I'm not gonna always be
Because
here.
he's so good. Well, come on, man, you gotta train some of us or something.
I'm gonna dictate
you
a
gotta start
speech
listening.
into a document to give
Yes.
to people.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Do we wanna do that for anybody, no matter?
Every bartender should get that speech?
When they come in for
Every
the
new ba-
application, you
every
hand
new
it to 'em.
application gets the speech?
I've had discussions about doing something, a little document to give
Yeah.
them.
I guess
Well,
I'd say
they-
a hologram where they push a button and you appear.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Marty
You're very
Weigel.
Yeah.
I didn't sign any release on that when I took this job.
I also wanted to do it this year, but I didn't have time, and next year I wanna do with the retail licenses at meetings.
so we make an actual committee vote on each individual
Approve
person?
or deny.
You could make one vote for
Oh, you
one
deny
that
it.
you wanna deny,
Yeah.
one that you want,
There's a consent
one to
agenda.
pass on.
Right.
That way.
Yeah, I think we're fine on that one, but I would like a letter
Would-
or something
We're fine
prepared.
on, we're fine on what? That we do in,
Approve
all
her.
at the end, or?
No, he's talking about specifically this applicant.
Oh, so, I was
Oh,
talking
no.
specifically this applicant.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
We approve it, but what I'm saying is I'd like a letter prepared that, does this make sense? This is
I have read
Yeah.
and accepted.
Or no, just when they come for a license, that they read this thing and they understand, like, here are your responsibilities, or, you know.
Right, that's what I said, I have read it,
Yep,
accepted.
I have read this.
But she'll go on to the September third agenda.
They're just saying, they're saying
In
generally they
general,
want a
yeah,
letter.
every person who
It's
wants
just
to
us.
apply for a license gets a
And they
letter
have to
Yeah.
sign that they know.
that they
And
that
then
they
send
received
that
it.
back?
With Marty's face on it.
Right.
I didn't sign a waiver for that either.
You're a public
Okay,
official.
so, do I have a motion that this one is, to pass through? Or
So
what-
moved.
What terminology you
Well,
want to
it's
use?
more of a direction, right? And you're gonna put it on the next
Yeah, that
agenda.
one's gonna be direction, the approvals, cause you're gonna make the
Okay.
formal recommendation on the third.
So we're not making a vote?
For the approvals, you're just directing us to.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna move to deny people.
Okay, so what's number two
Goes
then?
in the easy
That's the
part.
guy we looked at.
Goes in the.
Oh, yeah, okay, so I,
Our attorney
so I have motion on, number two then?
Yeah, motion to, again, direct the staff to put it on the,
This will be.
no, the non-easy
We have
part,
to-
number two is.
This is
yeah.
not easy.
No, we have to deny this, right?
That's what you said.
Approved or denied.
That we
Sounds
put it on,
familiar.
we put it on the deny agenda. How about that?
Well,
If
but
for a
but
reason
they don't want
number
us to
four.
say approve.
No, are they soft denying it right now?
Yeah.
So they moved to deny it.
I'd say you move to deny it, but that recommendation won't be sent to the council till after this meeting. But you
Right.
have the opportunity to change your mind.
This, I'm confused about the soft denial. There's nothing on here that says soft
So-
deny versus deny.
No, I know, I agree.
So,
My take on
we're
it,
just giving you direction. We're not actually taking a vote to deny or not. We're saying, put this on the one we want to discuss further or
The
deny.
ones you are denying, I think you should take a vote to deny.
Yes,
Then,
he'll get a
through
letter.
this letter, they'll get a letter saying they're recommending denial, but you have the opportunity to come in. They'll come in at the next meeting, state their case, and you can change your vote to approval, or can pass on your
Okay,
recommendation.
I got that, but now I have a legal question. Don't they have to know that they're on the agenda for tonight anyway?
We're not talking to him tonight.
But we're denying them tonight.
they'll have a chance to be
It's a public,
rehabilitated.
it's a
That's why
public
this-
agenda.
Yeah. So they got notice because it's a public document. A, B, they know they applied. C,
It's a public document, but it doesn't give their name.
I asked Kale about that because this is a list of things. If we can refer, actually, I'm going to change the wording just to add pursuant to the attached list or some wording like that because it should
Right.
say mention. It should at least reference the list.
These people don't even know we're talking about them right
That
now.
was my mistake.
That's
sorry.
true.
That's what I'm saying.
And somebody will see it on TV. Hey, I saw on TV you got your license denied last
that's
night.
why they get the chance to be rehabilitated, I guess.
Well, because we have a system that you can click on a link and get the list. As long as I reference the list,
I guess what I'm saying is, can't we just give you the direction to send them that letter without us actually formally denying them? Can we just say, you know, the committee is making a recommendation that you send them this letter, and then we'll take it up on the third as a formal deny or approve?
My 2 cents is you guys can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Ooh, no, I'm just kidding.
But with that
I know.
said, sorry, with that said, you're gonna be doubling up work to some extent, maybe then. And if they don't show up, you're gonna have to be making your formal motion to deny at that point. If they don't show up, so I guess
procedurally, in my opinion, it makes more sense if you want to deny now, make that motion to deny, because you're making that action for the committee. They have a chance to change your mind, and they'll come in and do that if they want to. If they don't, your minds aren't gonna be changed. And so I don't know what putting it off would really do, but it's up to you guys how
I
you.
just think a person should know that their name is being talked about at a government meeting.
When they submit an application, they are of that understanding. So they're submitting an application that still needs to
Right.
be reviewed by the committee. They are understanding that the committee is going to review you in some
But they have
manner.
no right to know when.
Be a hard,
Not
it's gonna be
statutorily.
hard for them to
they
figure
don't-
out when we're talking about them.
Yeah.
They don't have a statutory right to be present. I mean, it's an open meeting, they can come if they want to, but there's not like a mechanism in terms of the statutes that say we have to give them 5 days notice prior to discussing their application.
Right, but at least just having their name written on the agenda that it's
Sure.
gonna be discussed.
And if that's what you'd like, best practice, we can absolutely
We
do
can at
that.
least say, there's a place you can see your name is gonna be discussed that night.
So maybe we don't wanna make final votes today because you'd like to see the agenda organized differently.
I'd like to see names.
Sure, I'm not just,
No, I
yeah,
think,
yeah.
I'm with you, I think the name should be on the agenda,
Can I add to the
and
agenda?
that way, at least, well, you know what, your name was on the agenda. No, we didn't send you a letter yet, because we didn't know what we're gonna do with you, but if you were out there looking for it, the information was there at least.
And frankly, if you do wanna watch the video, you can do a Google search or a search on our search engine and for your own name, and it'll show up the
Will
date
it?
it was.
Oh,
And then
once
you
the
can go
word-
to the,
once the
then
name's
you
in
can
the
go to the
agenda.
city channel and watch the meeting if you want. You can at
Yeah.
least,
You can see
Yeah.
what the conversation was.
I can certainly do that. Like I said, this is a whole
Yeah,
practice
yeah.
round.
Well, then
so
you're-
I think
then
for
you're
tonight, I
right,
wouldn't
that
wanna
you're
approve or
writing to them,
deny,
you
but I
can
think
tell
in the future,
Yeah.
maybe that's what we
Okay.
can do.
So, are you talking about, Alderman May, are you talking about, just these, like the monthly meeting ones that you're gonna review, or, cause I'm also considering not including names on the agenda for the ones to approve, but just
I think we should
referencing a
include them for
list.
both. It makes it easier, I think it just makes it easier for people to find their name on an agenda and know when they were being
Okay.
discussed.
Just so you're aware, we could totally do that, cause we're doing that now, just so
We
you're
do that
aware,
now.
the program that we have, and actually hand types every single name in.
Is that a lot of work?
Oh, no, not at all.
Renewal period.
Remember this?
I knew, that was great.
I just wanted to mention.
No, really,
that,
is it
but
take
I
much
can-
or?
do whatever
Especially
you
in,
guys tell me to do.
yeah.
I'll
So,
do.
but, okay, like on the
Especially at
agenda
renewal
now,
time.
it'll have it lists all the
It's not,
all
it's
the
my
licenses that we're approving.
yeah,
She puts that all by hand, there's no program for that.
Correct.
there's no cut and paste, no drag and drop, no,
And
What is she
it's,
cutting and pasting from? It's got to originate from somewhere.
it's,
yeah.
and is there a requirement, any kind of state requirement that their name has? Well, how do they know if it's,
It has to
how
be
do we know what we're
reasonable.
voting on that?
You
How
can,
does
re-
anybody know
you
what
can
they're voting
reference a
on?
list.
If someone calls me up and say, you know, I'm, Joe Blow, is my license gonna be approved? And I look at it,
I don't know.
So you can reference a list on the actual agenda item because we have a system where they get the agenda and click
There's
on
hot
the
links,
link,
yeah.
and it'll then show the document, the list that's in there, the document. So that's a mechanism. Legally, you can do it that way. It's a preference thing, like Alderman May is talking about.
okay, but if you go in there and you click on that number, it'll say who it is?
There will be a list.
Right.
That list right there is on Legistar.
Okay.
This,
Yes.
So when someone goes in Legistar and they type in their name, will that list appear under the agendas and everything?
I don't know if it searches that deep into it.
no, I don't think it does. It's not gonna search it, that's a PDF.
I'm just for transparency in
Yeah,
government. I think-
yeah, I want people to know that we're talking about this.
So are we not gonna deny any of these tonight?
Yeah,
Legally, we still can, but
I'd prefer to wait till the third.
well, it won't appear on the third. Like the recess agenda.
Yeah,
So
These ones.
if you want
just for this
None
one
of this-
time, and all the ones in the future, we won't do
Oh,
it
okay.
this way. Does that make sense?
yeah,
Yeah.
Just,
unless you just want to direct us and we'll start sending out letters.
I'd say let's just direct them to,
And then next
Send a
time
letter.
we can take care of that.
yeah,
actual-
it's a process, we're
Yeah.
we're
we're
monitoring.
refining.
okay, you guys are losing me here again. We decided that we're gonna not vote on these tonight?
We're
We're
gonna
gonna vote
direct
on.
staff to write a letter saying that, you know, the committee,
Is considering. to-
may recommend denial of operator's license or something like that.
So the first one was no letter.
And that,
The
if,
first
Right.
one is no letter.
No letter.
The second
The
one
second one
is,
is-
Is a letter.
is
is-
a letter.
Okay,
No
but we don't have to vote on that. Yes, we have to vote on it.
Don't, because of Alderman May's concerns, just don't vote on it tonight,
Yes.
just direct
We're
us. to-
directing,
to
okay.
do it.
Okay,
It'll appear on the next month.
Yeah, we didn't take any formal
I would say
action.
the third one.
okay, wait, who's, we got it, we can give names, they're here.
Okay,
Yeah,
Joseph
we've been
Fitzgerald.
kind of biting, working around that. We haven't been saying names because, is that because we're
Bring him in.
Okay,
denied?
okay. Joseph, you want in?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Two OWIs.
okay,
I know this sounds frustrating. but
Who's
I think it's
next?
just, want to nail down this process and,
Yeah.
Oh, no, I
Yeah,
wanna nail it
I
down.
just-
more
We
than
have to.
anything.
again, if my name's
Wait,
on
we
the
didn't
agenda,
bring
I
in,
wanna search
we
for
didn't
it.
bring in Rebecca, the first one with two OWIs.
Right.
But you say you wanna bring in
Because
Joseph.
that was
Right.
1997, I believe, was the.
Well, this one's
And
99 and 01.
Right.
His last one was.
18 years ago, she should probably be rehabilitated if she has no other OWIs since then.
okay, wait.
Yeah.
Okay, we've already had two that we're calling in, correct? Joe,
Joe, we're calling in. The
Okay.
other one we're saying we're good with.
And Patrick.
and Patrick, we're calling in,
Yep.
and right now, and Rebecca, we are not.
I just don't see why we're calling in
Oh my God, I
Joe when we didn't call in Rebecca.
Joe's, which is number 3 here, right?
Correct.
His cases are much more recent. 2015.
What? No.
let me look
01. According to the spreadsheet.
14, cycle 2.
What name are you on?
Joseph Thomas Piscatello.
No, then the spreadsheet's inaccurate then.
There's other things in here too, though.
Operating under the influence
When?
is the charge. It is for misdemeanor. It was April 28th of 2015. There has been no disposition yet, just a charge.
What's the name? I can look at this, yeah.
So cycle 4, I guess, is what it would be.
Yeah, well, see, but that's not on that spreadsheet.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's,
That's another reason we do many checks, cause sometimes it doesn't pop up in one, but it pops up in others.
Cycle 4.
so he's, it says he's
Maybe that's
being,
a
it says
consistency
he's being
thing they
charged
want.
for a misdemeanor for operating under the influence on April 28th of 2015.
And that
But it
should-
doesn't say, here, if you go,
That should have been his third OWI.
so cycle 4.
Right.
That one.
That should have been charged as his third OWI.
I'll look it up.
Right.
Cycle 3,
What's his first name?
Cycle 4.
Cycle 4.
I know this person, his family is
It
well known out
doesn't-
there.
Doesn't matter.
We'll leave it, yeah, we'll leave that alone.
His family is well known.
What's the date?
It says, April 28th of 2015 was the arrest, and the charge is a misdemeanor for operating while under the influence.
But it looks like it's his third OWI.
We don't have
99 and 01.
We don't have any conviction information is what you're telling me.
Right, nothing is listed, so
I
how
don't
do
see
we
anything
know?
on CCAP, oddly enough.
So that, would
Is
that
this
be
gonna be a-
pending criminal charge?
Is this gonna be a
Oh, I know.
problem all the time?
Shouldn't that be charged as a
check
third
that.
OWI?
If he's got 2 priors, yeah. Unless there was some proof problems and they just no
Do
process.
the priors drop off after a certain
No,
time?
not
No, they
OWIs.
never go away.
Prior to
Now,
1982
now we understand the
or something.
police department's frustration.
Yeah.
This is a lot of work.
Why is it cutting off?
Well, if he's got a,
Ends at contributing agencies.
He should be in the deny for
he
number
should be
1.
in the deny pile.
Okay,
Pending criminal charges.
he is now in a deny pile.
There we
We're
go.
moving on.
Deliver.
Rico.
I like it.
Rico. Rico.
So now we're on.
Mr. Noazik?
No,
This is,
no, no,
this is woman.
Noazik?
no. Castro.
Are we on Rocio Castro, female?
Rico Castro, yes.
Am I not?
That is the name of somebody that worked and was in our summons and complaints for,
Yeah, it
Is
is.
this Riccio Navarro also known as?
Las Palmas or?
Yeah, Las Palmas.
2274, okay, yep.
Oh, this person probably, this is probably the person that didn't have the license?
This one's a charge of battery.
Well, it says local notices, it's like tavern violation sell to a minor.
ROCIO
Convicted as a
Castro?
Yep.
disorderly contact, as a disorderly conduct, it says.
In September 6th of 2018, she was one of the bartenders at the location that had the UC by undercover at Las Palmas.
And that's her only substantially related
These are out of order,
charge.
I think.
Well, disorderly conduct is not substantial.
Well, we don't know what it was. I don't know what,
You could have lied to the police officer.
It's generally gonna be obstructing.
Please,
It
that's still a time. That's
It seems longer than mine is.
Where's this one?
Oh, no.
So this doesn't show up on that. She got a ticket for it.
I like the one we got the
Her charge was a DO, is what it says. And a fine.
Charge disorderly conduct.
It's illegal, illegal.
don't know. We don't ask people's employment status, like green card status, to get a bartending license.
No, it's not one of the factors to consider.
It's not?
Not statutorily, at least.
We're not hiring them.
Born in
There's
France.
also no residency requirement.
Born in France, citizen of Mexico.
Well, no residency of Wisconsin.
There's no residency requirement, period.
Yeah, you could live in Illinois and
Yeah.
you could live in Canada, work here over while you're in college or something. or-
Citizen of Mexico?
My concern is that on this one, that I know of an offense that I believe she was ticketed for that doesn't show up in there. I wonder what happened.
Anything on the spreadsheet for her?
It says no violations, and then it says locals notes,
Sell to minor.
915,
Okay.
tavern,
There it is.
violation, sell to minor.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the
Okay, it's on
spreadsheet.
that spreadsheet. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be criminal stuff, potential criminal stuff, and then we have everything else that goes on.
Yep.
All right, I understand. Thank you.
And then
So do-
on that, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
Do we want to bring her in or not?
I was gonna ask Mr. Chair.
Okay, go ahead.
Does that event sell to a minor? Is that reason for denial?
I would say.
How do we know what her charge was and if she's been,
Given one chance?
Well-
rehabilitated?
We ask owners what happens to bartenders they get caught in
At least
the
for revocation.
compliance
otherwise
check,
it's not-
and we're glad to hear the owners say they fired them, right? They still have a license, they could be working
So
somewhere
we
else.
should call this person in.
Yeah,
I believe the statute is if we want to revoke a operator's license for an undercover operation, there needs to be two of them. I think it's going to be grounds to deny if she sells prior to even issuing one.
yeah, she didn't even have one, so she was actually working without a license, was,
Presumably under somebody else's license at the time, right?
Yeah, it could have been some, well, obviously
Yeah.
there was no one in there, though. At that
they got
particular time.
ticketed for that, right? So she was working there, in this instance, under no one's supervision.
All the information I have in the complaint is that she was the bartender, meaning
But I thought we had them on unlicensed bartender there too.
at a
Okay, maybe not,
establishment.
okay,
If there's too many questions there, I can look into this one more too.
It sounds like a lot.
yeah.
Yeah, we did have a noise.
Yeah, let's look into it more.
Okay.
So we'll call her in, or deny that one?
Deny that one.
Sure.
Okay, moving on. Meetings are already getting later.
No, Robert?
We just started.
Robert Nozick?
Nozick.
Showing him as one OWI.
Yeah. One OWI in 03. Chances are that old, he's probably, not age of offense, probably rehabilitated,
Okay, put that in the good pile.
right? I would think.
Totally up to you guys.
2003, I would think,
See-
with no other OWI since
10 years and nothing,
Okay,
rehabilitated.
or
Okay.
excuse me, 16.
is that okay with everyone?
Well, he's
Yes.
got, yeah, 2 traffic tickets since then,
Yeah, we can't use those.
3, but, yeah, okay,
Okay, Tiffany Hernandez.
pass.
Tiffany.
Issue of worthless check, well, here we go, here's the example.
Here we go.
Which one are you on now? Tiffany
Tiffany.
Hernandez?
Yeah,
Yes.
08 worthless checks. That's it.
Charge, charge. Sequence 2.
Convicted of issuance of a worthless check. She bounced a check, right? Is that usually what that means?
Less than 500.
Yeah, she bounced a check, didn't take care of it, the person contacted the police and she was charged with the citation.
Citation.
So all these charges are for the same item.
Isn't that crazy?
It's not a citation. criminal
And then they
offense.
relist the charge again right before
Because
the
it's like,
dismissal.
if it's a misdemeanor. it's
So
not.
this happened one time?
Mm-hmm.
Disposition, it'll say fine, right?
It could be a fine on a
It
criminal
says
thing.
dismissed.
I guess I don't know the difference, that's why I'm not you.
It was non-criminal, it seems like it was a result of the tickets.
Yep. She paid court order
Yeah,
fees.
so then it got dismissed.
I think it was probably charged initially, and then it probably got dismissed and amended down. I'll look it up right now, I have it.
Well, either way, I think she's okay.
11 years ago.
Good pile.
Okay.
11 ago, put
She
that
wrote
in.
a bad check.
Yeah, she wrote a bad check.
Are we judging if we're saying good and, or bad pile, which they go in?
We can work on that later.
Good point.
Okay,
Put it
We'll
in the
say-
pile on the right
but
hand
we're
side.
here to, we're here to judge.
Deny.
That's right.
We're here to judge. That's our job here.
All right.
Okay, now on these two items, we just place these on file. Well, one's a communication, a discussion. Are we placing these two on file?
Yeah,
Which
that's
two
fine.
items?
2 and 8.
Oh, yeah.
Number 2, you want to keep?
Or do you wanna just
Yeah,
hold them?
because they're ultimately gonna split off onto different jackets, so we can place them on file.
Move to place on file.
But wait a second, Mr. Chair.
Yeah,
Procedurally,
go
it's
ahead.
coming before us and we're placing them on file and then we're taking them up again.
Place on file with committee
Yeah,
recommendations.
we've discussed with staff about what we want them, see happen, and it's gonna come back essentially as a new item. Is that right?
Do you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, but this is a issue with the way we have it structured with these jacket system.
Mm-hmm.
You're not as flexible as like placing something on an agenda and just
Right.
doing nothing with it.
So we place on file
So the
based on
jacket is
recommendations.
being placed on file. The issues underneath are gonna be split off into separate files.
So,
Place
so if
on
we,
file based on, I don't know.
You guys can write that in. Did you?
So moved.
You moved, and who second?
I will.
Okay, listen, May 2nd. Is there any further discussion on these two? All in favor?
Aye.
What?
Aye.
Oh, no, you can vote. I just
Aye.
haven't followed
Anyone
up.
opposed? Motion carries. Okay,
So we're clear, we can not include speeding tickets, cause that'll make the police department happy.
Yes.
Right.
And then, you want me to add names to the agenda.
Please. I'm sorry. Ken. But yes.
Now you know what you're looking at, we can start figuring out how, so we're not here till 8:30.
alright, so we want license information, you want warrants, if we can do this stuff. Don't need speeding tickets. Parking,
Parking tickets, no.
no.
seatbelts.
Seatbelt,
No,
no insurance.
No insurance.
no insurance, that shows irresponsibility at a
Yeah.
different level.
But he's not taking it to court on that.
No, no insurance.
Let's excuse this.
No insurance, yeah. So,
Alright,
Yeah.
we'll work on that and we'll see how that goes. How about that? Are we okay with that?
Good start.
Alright,
And then I'll create a document with bookmarks on there so you can jump to.
Oh, that'd be great.
yeah.
Thank you. Because we jump in the agenda
scrolling
and
up.
electronically.
Yeah.
It'll skip.
Yeah.
Somebody get 120 pages and it'll skip 10 pages at a time. I'm like, thank you.
Okay, you have you had this all written down, right? Which one to take? Here's all your stuff back in and your notes. Is there any other question on anything?
No, I appreciate your time on all
yeah,
this.
thank you.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.